Hello everybody, my name is Java, and you probably clicked on this video to get better lighting for your maps. Maybe your players are complaining about your game and how boring it looks. So today I'm here to teach you how every one of these things works. Except fog, we don't really use that. Alright, let's start at the top with Ambient. Ambient controls the darkest shadows in your map, so this would be like, say the underground area in this map. So these shadows would be dark. So let's configure this to give it a little bit more of a personality, I guess. I really like this color. This is a pretty good color to me. It might not look the same on YouTube because YouTube compression is really bad, but you just gotta trust me. Alright, next thing you're gonna want to do, turn both of these up at an atmosphere, because this replaces fog. In order for atmosphere to work, you're going to need a sky. So let's just get some random sky that kind of fits this map. This is a bit more of a cartoony build, so let's get a cartoon sky. Alright, I'll be using this old ROBLOX sky. I like the look of it. Alright, there we go, I just had to replace it. You know, ROBLOX isn't always perfect. Alright, so the fog is a little bit dense. So we're going to set this back a little bit, because you're still going to want to see the fog from a distance, but it's a bit too intense. So this is the end of the map, this little red building over here. So we're just going to look at this red building until you can just moderately see it, like that. For this instance, it's around 0.33. Like, say your player gets flung up for whatever reason. Still looks good. You can see everything just fine. Messing around with offset, you don't really have to do it. It just gives the fog a solid color if you wanted that, which not everybody even wants that. Alright, next thing we're gonna want to do, set haze wherever it blends in with the clouds, kind of like this. You see how it blends in with it touching the clouds, the bottom of the cloud. So the fog color is a bit washed out. Just trying to make it match with the sky. So I think this looks good. Obviously you're not going to see this angle. It doesn't really match from here. But when you're from here, it kind of matches. Alright, decay. That'll be like the opposite from where the sun is facing. AKA the shadow color. Or if there's like pollution, like there's a lot of grit and pollution, you'll want this to be like a red color. I don't know if you could see it in this instance, probably because there's no glare. Set the glare to where it matches with the color of the sky. So this matches pretty well. There you go. Alright, now the decay color. In this map it's sort of a yellowish. I'm just thinking of like the color of the buildings. And if it's starting to look washed out again, you might want to bump up the color of the sky. Alright. So now that we've got atmosphere and sky down, and ambient, you might want to put your ambient darker now that you've got your atmosphere in. And as it gets darker, it'll get less saturated. So we'll want to, saturate it more. I'm liking this color, so we'll be using that. Alright, it looks pretty cloudy. It's not that bright out. So we're just gonna make it a bit more bright outside. This looks pretty good. And if your map is glowing, then this is about the time you add in the bloom effect. This allows you to change the settings of how glowy it is. So for example, let's get a neon part in here. And this is like overly glowy in a lot of people's opinions. So we can set the size down. And you can see it's still glowing, but not as much as it used to. If that's still too much, you can turn down the intensity and then maybe up the size a bit. You're going to want to set your threshold around 0.8, by the way. And just mess around with this until you can still see the glow, but not to the same intensity as the part itself. So you can still see, like, there's glowing around it, but it doesn't blend in with that actual part. So my settings are around 0.2, 17, 0.8. It'll be around the same for every map you do, unless you change the exposure, which you probably won't be messing with. So if you want your sun to be a different color, maybe your sky isn't the same as mine, you're wanting something a bit more, something else, in which case my sun, we need a little bit of red in there. So we'll set the color shift top around here. This all depends on the sky and the colors of the map. Shadow softness really depends on the map. Some people like it really soft, some people like it really jagged. I'm more one to have it jagged. This also depends on you. Outdoor ambient is the second shadow. There are two shadows, ambient and outdoor ambient. Ambient is the deepest, darkest part of your map, and outdoor ambient is just like the shadows on the side of the building. And those two shadows will blend in. They're of course like on their own respective scales, if that makes any sense. Some parts will be mixing between both. I'm setting my ambient to be sort of a red because I think my map is partially lacking a bit of red, and also it reflects the sun's color quite nicely. Clock time. Of course, this is the time of day. Ooh, that's an interesting night color. Oh, I really love this sky. It's amazing. So, clock time controls the time of day that you want it to be. And, for an example, like if you were doing a realistic map, and there was already a sky in your photo, like this map. This is when you'll be using clock time and geographic latitude. First, if your sky doesn't have celestial bodies on, please turn it on. Clock time is like vertical-ish. It goes up and down. And geographic latitude is right and left. So you're just going to want to line this up as much as possible to fit the realistic sky that you have. It might get so precise that you'll have to start like messing with numbers. Alright, so this is about, this about matches up with mine. Obviously the sky doesn't fit, but this is just an example of how you line up your sun with the realistic skybox. Alright, we'll be setting this back. The default is 41 and 14, by the way. So let's paste in our old sky. So right now I'm thinking that this atmosphere is making our map a bit washed out. So in order to fix this, we will pretty much redo the colors, set them back to white, and start over. So first of all, our glare is glowing, which you don't want it to do. You want it to be just before glowing. So about 25 in this case. And then let's do our decay. This should match the outdoor ambient. And then we'll do our sky color. And we might have to blend the decay a little bit. Or sometimes your decay will have to be a part of the sky, especially in cartoony builds. So now you can see our lighting looks way better than it used to. It's gone from something that was very plain and washed out, very standard, I mean it's passable, to something you might have a vivid experience in and remember for a long time. Some materials do not blend well with this lighting. Alright, well, anyways, yeah, this is how to configure your lighting and what everything does. So, have fun configuring your own lighting. It's quite simple once you get the hang of it. Thank you guys.